Hello everyone and welcome back to Goofy Foot Garage. As you can see where I left off last time, this little patch panel in between the F1 cowl and the Explorer Firewall has been welded in with little plug welds along the bottom edge and along the top cowl. So today my plan is to get these little side panels in. I get this little patch panel, I got it clecoed in kind of where I want it. So that's what I'm gonna do today, is get that fit and cut. And then I was playing on this side over here. You can see the two holes, the one for the heater core, one for the, I believe this is, well, here it is right here. So this is where the blower motor is. So what I'm gonna have to do is I have to cut this half off where the blower motor goes. It sucks air in from the cab in here. Good blower motor sucks it in, puts it across the heater core and then back into the cab. So what I need to do is figure out how to cut this half off and figure out where I can put the blower motor, either inside the cowl here, inside the fender, figure out how to get a blower motor. I have to tuck it up under the dash or something, not quite sure. So that's another thing I'm doing. So what I'm actually gonna end up doing is cutting out this little spot where the blower motor in the air inlet is, cutting out that section and then paneling that in with a new section. But I'm gonna leave that hole where the heater core is, where that blows heat into the car, or into the truck, sorry. Leave that hole where it's at, just cut this hole out, because obviously we're not gonna be able to use that one, and then put a filler panel in there. So that's my goal today, is get as much of the firewall done as I can, and then I will start working on the filler panels, like around here along the side for the floor pan, get all this stuff filled in. And that's kind of my goal this weekend, is to fill in all these little holes between the F1 and the Explorer, get this all sealed up, and then I'm gonna get some seam sealer. I'm gonna clean off all that seam sealer in there, because obviously you saw my last video I cut it on fire when I was doing my plug welding. So I'm gonna try to get a wire wheel and clean all that off and redo it, and go from there. So that is where I am today. It's Saturday. It's gonna be a really hot day, but we're also expecting some severe thunder showers and possible hail today. So we'll see how far I get, because I don't want to leave my trucks outside during that weather. There's our vicious guard dog Bella. So anyhow, but today is the filler panels on the side of the cowl, between the cowl and the firewall. Get those done and move on to the floor pan. So stay tuned. We'll catch you guys later. And the skies have opened up, and now it's raining with thunder showers today. So you might see a little bit of lightning. Kind of working in the garage with the garage open. Having some fun getting some air through here. It's still kind of warm. But today, this is what I've done so far. I have this patch panel tack welded in, and then the plug welds along the side where that 1-inch tubing is. And now the last thing I'm doing is this little patch panel I have here. So I'm just gonna tack weld that in, and then move on to the passenger side, which haven't touched yet. Just did a little marking off where I'm gonna cut out that little extra hole I don't need, because it's going to the blower motor. I'm gonna have to try to figure out where I'm gonna put that now. So that's kind of where I'm at. And again, this Miller, the Miller-Matic 211, I just did tack welds on this thing. I'm thinking this is gonna hold up so much better than that Harbor Freight one was. I mean, I'm just ecstatic. I love that Miller-Matic, it's awesome. So yeah, that's that last patch panel I'm putting in on this side. And once I'm done with most of the firewall here, I'm gonna finally cut the doors loose, because I have the doors welded together. I don't remember why I did that, but I think it was trying to help hold the cab square. And I got some support tubing I put in the back. So yeah, so when I cut the back half of this cab off, nothing's really gonna move. Yeah, so all right, on to welding in this last patch panel, and then moving on to the passenger side. And just like that, the driver's side patch panels are in for the firewall. Had a little bit of problem here on this little panel, because I believe the Explorer firewall is either 22 or 20 gauge. It's pretty thin, and the patch panel I was putting in was 18 gauge. So I kept melting through on that left-hand side. So I definitely turned the welder down a little bit, got that going. Did a couple stitch welds on this side, kind of ran a little bit longer than just tack welding to see if it would hold up. Held up good. I didn't see any warpage, don't see any twisting or turning of the metal. So there you go, driver's side's done. I just got to do some grinding and clean up all the welds, make it look nice and clean, and then on to the passenger side. So stay tuned. Moving on to the passenger side. Got the patch panel all cut out. I got it clecoed on. I got the holes drilled on the side for plug welds, and then I got these little Harbor Freight like gap keepers. Keeps the sheet metal flush and gives you a nice little gap top and bottom. So for now, that's gonna work. So yeah, time to get welded. Voila, patch panel welded in. Did the plug welds along the side where that tube is. Did about 4 plug welds on the top where the overlap that lower part of the, I guess the Explorer firewall, but now it's a patch panel firewall. But tack welded it in, did a bunch of little tack welds, got that going. So patch panel there is in. Still got to finish this little guy right there, and I'll probably do that tomorrow. It's getting late, time for supper, so I'm gonna leave that for now. Tomorrow I'll come back, I'll clean up all those welds, do some grinding, cleaning up, and probably finish this up, and then cut those doors loose. These doors have been welded shut for over a year, so get the doors open, finish the floor pan. Have a good one, guys. Catch you later. It is a new day. It is Sunday, and I did a little bit of cleanup grinding on the welds here on the driver's side. You can see that little corner where they meet. It's all ground down. Looks really nice. Had a little bit of an issue down here since the firewall was a little bit thinner metal. The weld was melting through, and had to do some patch welding again to get decent penetration through that metal and not burn through it, so it's a good seal. Again, the side, that little tail down there, I'm going to trim that off once I figure out the underside where the floor pan is. It's kind of hard to see, but I haven't done that yet, so when that's done. Another thing I'm going to do is obviously these that tube, that's going to get cut off up here, and then I'm going to probably fill in from the cowl here into the floor pan of the Explorer. So that's going to get done today. Passenger side, I haven't done any cleanup grinding yet, so I'm going to grind that edge down, grind those flush, clean that up a little bit, and then I got to figure out about the blower motor location. I have no idea how that's going to work, so we'll figure that out as we go. But today, those are getting cut off. I can open the door, get in here, and play with the floor pan. After I made the new rocker panels, I realized the Explorer floor pan is actually higher up than where I have those rocker panels. So there's about an inch gap. So I should have left that out until I knew the height from where I was going to go from off the F1 height to the floor pan or the Explorer. So I might end up having to take those out again and extend this floor all the way to the door and then down and make new rocker panels again. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so today is to fill in all that empty space, actually make some patch panels. That's my goal today. We'll see how it goes. So there's a change of plans this morning. I'm not sure if you guys are like this, but I have parts piled up, crap piled up, and stuff all over my garage. And you go to my toolbox here and my workbench, and things are piled up everywhere. Can't even see where my workbench is and my toolbox. I have hardware piled up here. I have tools everywhere. So my goal today, before I start working on my pickup, is to clean all this stuff up, put it away, and be able to see my toolbox. That would be nice. So that's my goal. We'll see how it goes. Toolbox and workbench cleaned. Well, sort of. I left out the tools that I use the most. Obviously, hearing protection, eye protection, and breathing protection, because a lot of cutting and grinding, you want to make sure you got some kind of protection to keep yourself safe. Cleaned it all off. I keep losing my tape measures, so I'm keeping them out. My grinder cutoff wheel, all that's out. sander. I'm going to use some wire wheels to clean off all that seam sealer inside the cab. Hammer and dolly kit, I'm keeping that out. This is where I put all the stainless steel hardware that I have. It's all in here and in here. Some of the stuff for the bed, because it's like a different kind of hardware. So that stuff in there, that's in there. And then the rest of my little parts and pieces. My radio, cleaned it off, put my drill and impact driver over here. I'm gonna try to build some kind of like storage thing. I see a lot of them like on Etsy and whatever to put these things up out of the way so they're off the workbench. So that's all cleaned off. We have a nice clean work surface. All my tools are put away. I know where my tools are, so I can get back to the F1 now, cutting off these little weld on little tube sections that are holding the door shut and get into the floor pan. Let's go. Now that my garage is clean, get back to the F1. So did some grinding on the welds here. A nice little corners all cleaned up. That's a little bit cleaned up. Probably could do a couple filler patches right in there, tack welds. Kind of cleaned that edge up a little bit. Not the best, but it's cleaned up. And then look at this. Woohoo! Door's open. I cut off those little bars that were welded on there holding the door shut. Did that. And like I said before, I really wish I would have planned ahead when I remade the rocker panels, because as you can see, there's about an inch difference, the height of the rocker panel and the height of the Explorer floor pan. So if I would have been smart enough, I would have measured that and made the new rocker panels to the height to match up with the floor pan. But I didn't, so I'm actually might have to end up taking out these rocker panels, because I really don't want to like splice weld in another piece versus just making a full section to fit the height of the floor pan and the rocker panel. It looks like, you know, it's just about an inch or so. And again, what I said about Minnesota and the rust, this is one of the body mounts right here. See how rusty and crusty that is? I don't even know if I'm gonna get that bolt out. Might end up having to cut that out. And once I get this F1 cab mounted to the Explorer Firewall, pulling this whole thing off, and I'm thinking this whole cross member that goes across might end up having to be replaced, because it looks pretty nasty, pretty gnarly. So we'll see how that goes. So for now, I'm gonna have to start, thankfully I only tack welded these things in. There's a couple welds holding on. I'm gonna have to end up cutting those out, drilling or grinding them off, taking this whole rocker panel out, and then making a complete patch panel that goes down into the rocker panel. One solid piece. Wish me luck. Well, I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but I did get a new third time over driver's side rocker panel in. Got it all welded in, ended up taking the old one, or actually the second one that I built, replacement, chopped off the ends, cut it out, and then welded this one in. Not pretty, but it'll work. It's fully welded. I'm just gonna clean it up with a grinding disc real quick here. But again, this is on the floor, so I'm not too worried. I mean, I got some hammer marks here. I gotta see if I can smooth out a little bit. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. So now I gotta do another rocker panel in here as is. So that's kind of where I'm leaving off. It's about 8 o'clock on Sunday. I'm kind of tired, kind of sore. Gonna try to work on cleaning this garage up and getting some supper. So guys, thanks for watching the video. We will catch you next time. Have a good one.